meant to keep Kepler clean and protected, and there's a nitrogen purge. Here we are being moved into the clean room, and finally the bags were taken off and Kepler was put onto a test stand. This is where we did our electric testing to make sure that it survived the transport. We also checked all the core sun sensors, which are used to help us keep oriented with respect to the sun. Kepler is wrapped in thermal blankets to help protect it from the environment of space. One side of the spacecraft is in the sun all the time, and one side is in the shade all the time. There you can see the high gain antenna that we use to communicate to Earth. Once we'd finished our checkout in the clean room at Astrotech, we moved to the fueling facility. As Omar mentioned, it's been quite windy here over the last 8 weeks, so we had a good breeze as we went down to the fueling facility. Once safely in the fueling facility, we removed the bag and put the 13 kilograms of hydrazine that Kepler uses to despin our reaction wheels during the mission into the reaction control system. At that point, we did our final closeout of the thermal blankets and prepared to move Kepler over onto the third stage. Each of these operations is a very delicate operation. You have an awful lot of money and delicate hardware hanging from the crane, and there's quite a choreographed group that keeps it safe. There you can see 2 of the 8 thrusters on the spacecraft. Kepler was transported over to the top of the third stage. There you can see the thermal blankets that are on the bottom of the spacecraft. Finally, you can see us being lowered down onto the separation springs that are used to push Kepler away from the third stage after it's done its mission. There were over 2,000 people at Ball Aerospace that contributed to this mission. 1.3 million hours of labor were expended by our team. Here you can see the protective can as it starts to get put around the Kepler spacecraft in preparation for its shipment to the launch pad. Each segment of the can is built up around the spacecraft. Finally, the top of the can is put on. And then the bag will be rolled down around the outside of it. So we have the can and then the bag. Kepler rolled out around midnight on its way to the launch pad. Again, it was a windy night. It's an extremely tall stack. It's over 30 feet tall. So there's an escort. There's a lot of maneuvering to get around light poles and power lines on the way out to the pad. Here you can see us arriving on the Air Force Base with a very pretty shot of the moon in the background. And this was the first of our 3 attempts to get up on the launch tower. They pulled up under the tower and the wind was too high, so as Omar mentioned, we went back and did safe storage for a night and tried again the next day, and finally on the 3rd attempt we were able to get up onto the tower. In conclusion, I'd like to acknowledge the tremendous effort by the thousands of people in dozens of states all over America that have contributed to building the Kepler hardware.